Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaim Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiri Nashtupraye Shavadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with our discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita introduction. So further reading the introduction, Prabhupada says, in the second verse of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the author offers his obeisances to Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. He compares them to the sun and moon because they dissipate the darkness of this material world. In this instance, the sun and the moon have risen together. So normally sun sets and the moon rises and the moon sets and rises. But here the comparison is made to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as sun and Nityananda Prabhu as moon, and they have both risen together to dissipate the darkness of ignorance, darkness of no devotion to Krishna, darkness of just enjoying, thinking that we are enjoying our senses, completely darkness. In the Western world, where the glories of Lord Chaitanya are relatively unknown, one may inquire, who is Krishna Chaitanya? The author of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj, answers that question in the third verse of his book. Generally in the Upanishads, the supreme absolute truth is described in an impersonal way, but the personal aspect of the absolute truth is mentioned in the Ishopanishad, where we find the following verse. Hiranamayana patrena satyasyapi haitam mukham tattvam bhushan apavrino satya dharmaya drishtaye. O my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotees. The impersonalists do not have the power to go beyond the effulgence of God and arrive at the personality of God, and from whom this effulgence is emanating. So the effulgence, the halo around the Lord is so great. So all the devotees pray to the Lord, please, you remove that covering. We cannot remove that covering. And we want to see your lotus face. Exhibit yourself to your pure devotees. But the impersonalists, they're just happy with seeing the effulgence only. The Ishopanishad is a hymn to that personality of God. It's not that the impersonal Brahman is denied. It's also described, but that Brahman is revealed to be the glaring effulgence of the body of Lord Krishna. And in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we learn that Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, Nahi Anya, it is said. In other words, Shri Krishna Chaitanya is the basis of the impersonal Brahman, or the Brahm Jyoti that we generally know. The Paramatma or Super Soul who is present within the heart of every living entity and within every atom of the universe is but the partial representation of Lord Chaitanya. Just like Lord Krishna, Krishna Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya, there's no difference. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not an incarnation of the Lord. Just like Ram and Lord Narasimhadev, Lord Varahadev, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. So he is called Avatari, not Avatar. So that's why it is said the Super Soul is but a partial representation of Lord Chaitanya. Therefore, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, being the basis of both Brahman and all-pervading Paramatma as well, is the supreme personality of Godhead. As such, he is full in six opulences: wealth, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. In short, we should know that he is Krishna, God, and that nothing is equal to or greater than him. There is nothing superior to be conceived. He is the supreme person. But he came in the form of a devotee, in the mood of a devotee, not a supreme Lord. Srila Rupa Goswami, a confidential devotee, taught for more than 10 days continually by Lord Chaitanya, and he was taught in Prayagraj. Wrote, Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Goratvishe Namah. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, who is more munificent than any other avatar, even Krishna himself, who's more munificent, more means merciful in giving away. And what is he giving? Because he is bestowing freely what no one else has ever given. Pure love of Krishna. Nobody ever gave. Krishna himself didn't give. Lord Ram didn't give. Pure love of Krishna. Why? Because he is Krishna himself. It says, even he is Krishna himself. But he is superior to Krishna. He is better than Krishna. Why? Because he has taken the mood of Srimati Radharani. The Radharani mood, and this is why many times people get confused, so especially those who are not devotees, about the position of Srimati Radharani. Krishna only took her mood. He could not stop himself from giving away Krishna Prema, not just pure love of Krishna to everybody and anybody, without considering their eligibility. That's the mood of Srimati Radharani. Lord Chaitanya's teachings begin from the point of surrender to Krishna. He does not pursue the paths of Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga or Hatha Yoga, but begins at the end of material existence, at the point where one gives up all material attachment. So this is how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's why it's called postgraduate study. It's not basic elementary school or even graduate school. Elementary school actually is Bhagavad Gita. That's its beginning. Srimad Bhagavatam is graduate school. Chaitanya Charitamrita is postgraduate. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna begins his teachings by distinguishing the soul from matter. And in the 18th chapter, he concludes at the point where the soul surrenders to him in devotion. The Mayavadis would have all talk cease there. But at that point, the real discussion only begins. For devotees, that's the beginning of the discussion. As the Vedanta Sutra says at the very beginning, Athata Brahma Jigyasa. Now, since we got the human form of life, now let us begin to inquire about the supreme absolute truth. Rupa Goswami thus praises Lord Chaitanya as the most munificent incarnation of form, for he gives the greatest gift by teaching the highest form of devotional service. In other words, he answers the most important inquiries that anyone can make. How to do devotional service. There are different stages of devotional service and God realization. Strictly speaking, anyone who accepts the existence of God is situated in devotional service. To acknowledge that God is great is something, but not much. Lord Chaitanya, preaching as an acharya, a great teacher, taught that we can enter into a relationship with God and actually becomes God's friend, parent, or lover. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna showed Arjuna his universal form because Arjuna was a very dear friend. Upon seeing Krishna as the Lord of the universes, however, Arjuna asked Krishna to forgive the familiarity of his friendship. Lord Chaitanya goes beyond this point. Through Lord Chaitanya, we can become friends with Krishna, and there will be no limit to this friendship. Arjuna had his limit. He could not go beyond seeing the universal form, because then he said, please remove this form. Please come back to your original form. I'm scared. But through Lord Chaitanya, we understand Krishna's friends, they have no limit to his friendship. We can become friends of Krishna not in awe or adoration, but in complete freedom. That's the power of his Gopa friends. They jump on Krishna. Sometimes they don't even let Krishna play with them. They say, Krishna, you cheat too much, so we're not going to play with you. That's friendship. We can even relate to God as his father or mother. This is a philosophy, not only of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but of Srimad Bhagavatam as well. There are no other scriptures in the world in which God is treated as a son of a devotee. Usually God is seen as the Almighty Father who supplies the demands of his sons. And usually in other scriptures, they don't even have a concept of person God, or a God who has personality, who has form. God is great, okay, yeah, how great he is. It just, we cannot imagine his greatness, so God is great. That's it. We're going to stick to that. Oh God, give us our daily bread. God can do more than that. But they don't have a concept. Becoming son of, or becoming father of God. You're becoming mother of God, becoming friend of God, becoming a lover of God. The great devotees, however, sometimes treat God as a son in their execution of devotional service. The son demands and the father and mother supply. And in supplying Krishna, the devotee becomes like a father or mother. And I think Laddu Gopal is the most popular deity in the world, I would say. Everybody loves to have Laddu Gopal in their home. And Laddu Gopal is what? We're treating Gopal as our little son who doesn't even grow up, never grows up. He's always like that. The son demands and the father and mother supply. And in supplying Krishna, the devotee becomes like a father or mother. Instead of taking from God, we give to God. People get confused. Well, everything belongs to God. Yeah. Everything comes from God. Yes. But when we give it to him in love and devotion, that's what he wants. Our love and devotion. It was in this relationship that Krishna's mother Yashoda told the Lord, here, eat this or you will die. So Mother Yashoda used to do. Eat nicely. In this way, Krishna, although the proprietor of everything, depends on the mercy of his devotee. This is a uniquely high level of friendship in which the devotee actually believes himself to be the father or mother of Krishna. And Krishna enjoys it. Devotees also enjoy it, and Krishna also enjoys this. However, Lord Chaitanya's greatest gift was his teaching that Krishna can be treated as one's lover. In this relationship, the Lord becomes so much attached to his devotee that he expresses his inability to reciprocate. That we saw in the Gopi Gita chapter of Bhagavatam. Krishna was so obliged to the gopis, the cowherd girls of Vrindavan, that he felt unable to return their love. I cannot repay your love, he told them. I have no more assets to give. Devotional service on this highest, most excellent platform of lover and beloved, which had never been given by any previous incarnation or acharya, was given by Chaitanya. Never given before. Therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj, quoting Srila Rupa Goswami, writes in the 4th verse of this book, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna with the yellow complexion. Why yellow complexion? Not even yellow, actually, it's golden complexion. Because he has taken the mood of Srimati Radha. With the mood of Radharani comes the color of Radharani's body. And also it was said that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Krishna was going to come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, taking the mood of Radharani, Radharani told him, in the spiritual world, told him, you have just taken my mood, but you won't be able to control yourself in the ecstasy, when you feel the ecstasy. Then again and again you will fall on the ground and you will hurt yourself. So I'm just going to cover your body with my body so you don't hurt yourself. We don't hear, we don't read about when Radharani goes into ecstasy, ecstatic mood, she is falling again and again in the ground. Or we'll read about what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu happened to him in Jagannath Puri. Sometimes he would become very big, his joints in the body would open, elongated hands and legs, he would become very tall. And sometimes he would become very small, like a ball, he would roll around in ecstasy. He could not control himself. But Srimati Radharani, always in control. Although inside it would be like a volcano erupting in ecstasy. But outside she would be completely in control. That's why Srimati Radharani, her love, her position, everything is superior to Krishna. And that's why in Vrindavan or in Braj, they don't even say Krishna or Hare Krishna. They just say Radhe Radhe. They never say Krishna. And that's why Krishna is completely controlled by Srimati Radharani. Completely controlled. Not in any wrong way, but her love is what completely controls Krishna. So that's in the fourth verse of this book, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna with the yellow complexion, and he is Sachinandan, the son of Mother Shachi. He is a most charitable personality because he came to deliver Krishna Prema, unalloyed love for Krishna, to everyone. May you always keep him in your heart. It will be easy to understand Krishna through him. That's the fourth verse of this book. We have often heard the phrase, love of Godhead. How far this love of Godhead can actually be developed can be learned from the Vaishnava philosophy. Theoretical knowledge of love of God can be found in many places, in many scriptures. But what that love of Godhead actually is and how it is developed can be found in the Vaishnava literatures only. It's a unique and highest development of love of God that is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that is why many devotees say, although we claim that we come in Brahma, Madhav, Gaudiya, Vaishnava Sampradaya, but many devotees, acharyas have also said, since Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, although he took sannyas in that sampradaya, but his philosophy doesn't actually conform to Madhvacharya's philosophy. So just because Baldev Vidyabhushan said only four Vaishnava sampradayas and that's it, they're authorized. So I guess that's why it's called Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya for us. But actually our sampradaya starts from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it can easily be said, this is Mahaprabhu's sampradaya. He can start his own sampradaya. That's not a big deal. And there's nothing wrong. But I guess so that the other acharyas, they don't start to point fingers. We say we come in this sampradaya. So this is what Prabhupada is saying. This is not given earlier by anybody, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given. Even in this material world, we can have a little sense of love. How is this possible? It's due to the presence of our original love of God. Whatever we find within our experience, within this conditioned life, is situated in the Supreme Lord, who is the ultimate source of everything. In our original relationship with the Supreme Lord, there is real love, and that love is reflected pervertedly through material conditions. Our real love is continuous and unending. But because that love is reflected pervertedly in this material world, it lacks continuity and is inebriating. Means it ends, it comes and goes. If we want real transcendental love, we have to transfer our love to the supreme lovable object, Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead. This is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. So nothing that we have to do artificially or that something that we cannot do. Originally, we have love for Krishna. We have forgotten that. Now we are in the process of loving things in the material world, which doesn't give us happiness anyway. So all we have to do is transfer our love to Krishna. In material consciousness, we are trying to love that which is not at all lovable. We give our love to cats and dogs, running the risk that at the time of death, we may think of them and consequently take birth in a family of cats or dogs. So this can happen, and it has happened. Just like Bharat Maharaj, he got so attached to the deer that next life he had to take the birth of a deer. So what will happen if we have cats and dogs in our homes and we just love them? They are pets. So we develop love, we develop attachment for them, and then what's going to happen at the time? We can only imagine. Our consciousness at the time of death determines our next life. That's the one reason why the Vedic scriptures stress the chastity of women. If a woman is very much attached to her husband at the time of death, she will think of him, and in the next life, she will be promoted to a man's body. Generally, a man's life is better than a woman's because a man usually has better facilities for understanding the spiritual science. Now, that could be a little controversial, but Prabhupada says. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada has said similar things. The reason being, men try to think more from their brains. Women try to think more from their hearts, more from their emotions. There's nothing wrong with that, nothing in it. This is how Krishna has made them. And we just learned how Radharani is much, much superior to Krishna. But just because men think more from their brains, so they can study the scriptures and they can understand the scriptures properly. But ladies, when they think more from their heart, they can apply the process easily. They can surrender more easily to Krishna. They can do the services easily. For men to surrender, it's very, very difficult, because surrender word is we just don't like it to surrender. So that way women's body is more conducive, or their emotions, they're more conducive for bhakti. But a man, of course, nowadays, it's like, it's not that a man can only go to the temple and render service. Ladies can also go. And also, after somebody becomes a devotee, man or woman, then there is no difference actually. This bodily differences are there Okay, some psychophysical differences will be there. That will always be there. But the differences in performing devotion service, that is not there. And anything can be devotion service. It's not like doing hard work, heavy work, that's only devotion service. Anything and everything. Taking care of deities, cooking for the deities, making garlands for the deities, it's all devotion service. And if we look at in general, if we have a big pandal program, it is generally seen more ladies come and attend the program than the men do. Men will be busy watching cricket at home or something. So that way, yes, ladies are more, their bodies or their hearts are more conducive for devotion service. But like in older days, it was easier for men to go out than for ladies to go out and take up something new. So that way, yes, men's body is better suited for that purpose. But now it is pretty much anybody can go out. But next paragraph, Prabhupada says, but Krishna consciousness is so nice that it makes no distinction between man and woman. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, anyone who takes shelter of me, whether a woman, Shudra, Vaishya, or someone of low birth, is sure to achieve my association. This is Krishna's guarantee. So it doesn't matter. But it just considered man's body is more favorable, but women's heart, women's emotions, they are much more conducive for bhakti. So I guess I can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you very much for explaining this very complex point, actually. Very difficult and controversial always when such verses are being discussed and explained. So you give a very wonderful explanation always on this. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. I tried. Chalo, I guess we can. Okay. Yeah, you're saying something?
Yeah, I was just smiling. Yeah, you try and you do it best also. Whereas I get into so many problems.
Thank you, brother. Chalo, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri.
Hare Krishna.